Lesson 10, equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are two fractions whose numbers are different, but they represent the same fraction of a whole. So let me start off by giving an example. All right. Let's look at this pizza right here. So I'm going to cut this pizza in half right here. And I'm going to say, I don't know, I'm going to put some pepperoni on this pizza. It doesn't really matter. Don't worry about the drawing. But anyway. So if I'm looking at this pizza right here, okay, all this pepperoni, all this extra pepperoni. If I'm looking right now, what would I say this fraction is equal to? Well, this fraction is equal to 1 over 2. I've got 2 slices. Those are my total parts. And the pepperoni represents 1 piece, so I have 1 out of 2. Now, look what I'm going to do. Now, 2 things to remember. I never change the size of the circle. I never change the size of the pizza, and I never change the number of pepperoni. It never changes. All I'm going to do is make more slices. So ready? Look at this. I'm going to cut it in half right here. So again, look, the pizza never changed. It's the same size. The pepperoni never changed. All I did was change the number of pieces. So if I'm looking at it now, I've got 4 total pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 of them are pepperoni. That gives me 2 out of 4. These are called equivalent fractions. Again, the pizza's not different, the pepperoni's not different, the number of pieces are different. All I did was make another slice. Let me give you one more. Ready? I'm going to slice this pizza in half again. Ready? Right there and right there. Again, the pizza never changed. The circle never changed. The pepperoni pieces never changed. But look what's happened now. If I count out my total pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I have 8 total pieces. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 are pepperoni. These are all equivalent fractions. The fractions have the same value. The numbers are different, but they're the exact same thing. If I offered you 1/2 of a pizza or 4/8 of a pizza, I'm offering you the exact same thing. Let me give you another example. All right. So here, I'm going to take a bar right here. Okay. And this time, I'm going to cut it into, I'm going to cut it into 3 pieces. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 3 equal pieces. So what fraction? Let's say I'm going to color, I'm going to color 2 of them green. All right. So again, don't worry if it goes a little outside the line. It's okay. 1 piece is green and 2 pieces are green. Just like that, okay? Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to cut this bar in half again. I'm going to make 6 equal pieces. So right now, I've got 2 green out of 3 total pieces. 3 total pieces, that number goes on the bottom, that's your denominator, and 2 green goes on top. So look what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it in half again. So we'll see. So now, how many pieces do I have? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 total pieces. That number is your denominator. That goes on the bottom. Now, how many are green? 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, I never changed the bar. I never changed the green amount. They always stayed the same. All I did was make smaller pieces. And one last time, I'm going to cut it in half again. So now, if I count my total pieces, I have 12 total pieces. Again, I never changed the bar. There's 12 total pieces now. And out of those 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 are green. These are all equivalent fractions. The amount of green, the size of the bar, it never changed. They all have the same value. All I did was cut it into smaller pieces. Again, these are called equivalent fractions. Now, let me show you how to generate equivalent fractions. All right. Now, one thing to remember about our fraction rules is very important. Remember, if the numerator and the denominator are the same, if the top number and bottom number are the same, it always equals 1. It doesn't matter how big it is. So 3 over 3 equals 1. 5 over 5 equals 1. 99 over 99 equals 1. Any numerator and denominator, when they are the same in a fraction, that equals 1. And this is very important to remember. So again, if the numerator and denominator are the same, if the top number and bottom number are the same, it always equals 1. It doesn't matter what the numbers are, it always equals 1. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, now, how do you generate equivalent fractions? Well, let's start off with my fraction here, 1 over 2. So, I want to make an equivalent fraction of 1 over 2. All right, so if you multiply the top and bottom by the same number, let's say I pick 2 over 2. Now remember, if the denominator and numerator are the same, it equals 1. And anytime you multiply a number by 1, you get the same number. That's just a multiplication rule. If you multiply a number by 1, you get the same number. So I'm going to multiply 1/2 by 2 over 2 because 2 over 2 equals 1. But look what happens. So I multiply the numerator by the numerator. 1 times 2 gives me 2. And the denominator by the denominator. 2 times 2 equals 4. So look what I did. I just made an equivalent fraction. 1 over 2 and 2 over 4 are the same fraction. They are equivalent. The numbers are different, but they are equivalent fractions. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to start with 2 over 4. This time I'm going to multiply by, 3 over 3. Again, if the numerator and denominator are the same, it equals 1. I'm just multiplying my fraction by 1, which means I'm getting the same number back. So same thing again. All right, this time 2 times 3 on top gives me 6. 4 times 3 on the bottom gives me 12. Again, these are equivalent fractions. 2 over 4 and 6 over 12 are equivalent fractions. All of these in purple, 1 over 2, 2 over 4, 6 over 12, those are all equal. Those are all equivalent fractions. Let me give you another example. This time I'm going to start with, let's say 3 over 4. And I'm going to multiply by, 4 over 4. So again, 4 over 4 equals 1. I can always multiply a number by 1 to get the same number. So let's go ahead and let's see, I'm going to multiply the two numerators together. 3 times 4 gives me 12. And 4 times 4 gives me 16. These are equivalent fractions. 3 over 4 and 12 over 16 are equivalent fractions. Okay, so now that we know how to do that, let's look at our problem here. It says, which statement is true? Well, looking at all these options, I have to figure out these fractions on the left, which ones are equivalent to the ones on the right. Well, let's look down here at C. Ready? So I have 3 over 4. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by 3. Again, it doesn't matter because 3 over 3 equals 1. Look what happens. 3 times 3 gives me 9. 4 times 3 gives me 12. Hey, what do you know? 3 over 4 and 9 over 12 are equivalent fractions. So which statement is true? 3 out of 4 is equal to 9 over 12. Let's look at one last example. So here the question is asking, which fraction is equal to 4 over 5? All right, well, let's start with 4 over 5. And again, as long as you multiply the top and bottom by the same number, that's okay. So let's take 4 over 5. I'm going to multiply by 2 over 2. Again, you have to multiply. If the top number is 2, the bottom number is 2. If the bottom number is 2, the top number is 2. The top and bottom have to be the same. So look what happens. 4 times 2 gives me 8. 5 times 2 gives me 10. What do you know? 4 over 5 is equivalent to 8 over 10. So what fraction is equal to 4 over 5? Well, it's 8 out of 10.